Punishing performance is one of the most common mistakes in business, not because it's cruel, but because it doesn't work. If a goal actually matters, you don't enforce it through penalties. You design capacity and margin so missing it becomes unlikely. That's what I mean by capacity first systems. In plain terms, penalising someone after they miss a target doesn't help you reach the target. It only changes who feels bad about missing it. The real lever is capacity and conditions, not punishment. So instead of saying, you didn't hit the goal, so now we take more from you, the question becomes, if this goal matters, how do we make it unreasonable not to hit it? Or do we need to accept like a lower sustainable goal? Because at the end of the day, what matters isn't who failed or why they failed. What matters is that they failed and that was not the output we were looking for, so we now need to change the inputs. While I was thinking about this idea of not trying to push the blame or punish people and actually fixing the system to succeed, I thought of this analogy of like petrol in a car, right? The objective is getting from A to B. The fuel needed is known, or it's at least estimable, right? If you don't arrive, penalising the fuel supplier after the fact doesn't move the car. The only things that matter are 1, did you put enough fuel in the car? And 2, does the vehicle have the capacity to hold and use that fuel? So the right questions aren't, who do we punish if we fall short? Or who absorbs the downside? They're much simpler. It's, did we build enough margin? And does the system have the capacity to sustain the entirety of the journey? That's it. And it comes down to this key point. If a system can't hold more fuel, you don't argue about refunds. You change the vehicle. In business terms, that means one of 3 things. Either you build the capacity through support systems or staff, or you accept a lower sustainable level of output, or you just end that partnership, contract, client relationship, whatever the case is. You just end it. What you don't do is pretend that punishment will somehow manufacture capacity and allow you to reach your goal, because you know it won't. Now look, just to be clear, I'm not saying we should always overfill the tank. What I'm saying is we shouldn't design systems that only work at exact tolerances, right? We should build the margin, because margin prevents burnout, it prevents volatility, and it prevents resentment. We don't punish systems for failing. We design them so failing becomes unlikely. We're not looking to fail. You're in it to succeed. So design it in a way where succeeding is the only option. Some people will say, doesn't this remove accountability? It doesn't, right? Accountability isn't punishment. Accountability is clarity, followed by real consequences. In this model, failure triggers diagnosis. Repeated failures trigger redesign or exit, not escalating penalties, right? Others will ask, what if someone takes advantage of this? It's like they refuel themselves faster in a system like this, because simple systems expose misalignment much quicker than complex one. There's nowhere to hide. Like when the expectations are clear, the KPIs are clear, everything is clear and just very simple, you can't hide in the complexity. That just sort of creates this stagnation that you've created through trying to build punishment into the system. And look, finally, isn't this unfair when revenue drops? Right? People will say that. Maybe emotionally it is, but causally it's correct. Like, it's very fair. Changing the split after the failure doesn't fix what caused the failure. It just shifts who carries the loss, and that's it. This doesn't mean there's no room for urgency. It doesn't mean there's no such thing as a push, right? Short-term momentum obviously matters. The difference is this. Pressure should be intentional, time-bound, and sort of explicit, right? A push says, For the next 30 days, we are sprinting. This is temporary. And after this, we return to a more stable, sustainable pace, right? So only the intensity sort of like flexes and changes, but that's temporary. And that's how you build momentum without breaking the system. So yes, you can push. You just don't confuse pressure with progress. And you want to think about it in the long run. Capacity compounds by expanding what a system can produce. Punishment compounds by shrinking what people are willing to give, right? Capacity is the foundation. Momentum is like a temporary amplifier, and punishment doesn't do either. Doesn't build nothing. It only hardens failure into the system. This isn't about being soft or strict. It's about understanding what actually drives results. You either design the system to get results, or you keep punishing the system and continue failing. The choice is always yours. And if you want to understand why punishing the symptom doesn't work, and actually how Glasgow went from being the knife crime capital of Europe to not being the knife crime capital of Europe and actually dropping homicide rates by about 70%, you can check out either one of these videos. It will be either here or here. And I basically break down and show that Glasgow wasn't punishing the symptom, but rather fixed the system and got real results. And I made parallels to business and how that actually makes sense in business too. So if you're interested, like I said, click one of these boxes. It's either here or here. And yeah, enjoy the video. Thanks for your time.